What up, people, and welcome to the book club with one mother, three sisters, and a whole lot of hot takes and cool insights. This is The Family Plot. I'm Angel, the host and the heart of the crew, joined by my baby sister Cam, our resident conspiracist, and our mama Lisa, the occasional voice of reason. We are joined by Glenna, my sister-in-law, with the insightful takes. All right, so here's how we get down. Each month, we discuss a book of our choosing. Every week, I'll share a brief summary of the chapters we've read, and then we each pick a discussion question to answer. We'll also share our first impressions, predictions, and anything else that comes up along the way. This month's selection is the first of a three-part series by Kerri Maniscalco called Kingdom of the Wicked. It's a young adult fantasy novel that follows Emilia, a strega or witch, as she seeks vengeance for the death of her twin sister Victoria. Emilia, who lives among humans, uses dark magic and summons Wrath, a prince of hell, to help her find her sister's killer. The story blends themes of vengeance, romance, and dark magic in a world where witches live in secret. If any of that interests you, go ahead and pull up a chair, pour some tea, get cozy as we get into this month's book, right here on The Family Plot, where every chapter digs deep. Okay, ladies, welcome back to week 3 of Kingdom of the Wicked. I got my comforter on today because we need comfort after the chapters we just read. Child, it's been a time, let me tell you. All right, so first things first, the summary. We are doing first chapters 25 through 30. So Emilia's secretive behavior draws suspicion, especially from brother Antonio, who informs her mother that Emilia spent the night with a mysterious man. Mortified, Emilia confronts Antonio, who reveals that another young witch, Julia Santorini, has been murdered. Emilia and Wrath investigate the crime, and Wrath later promises to find the next target so that they can hide her before it's too late. They learn the victim had ties to dark magic, much like Victoria. Wrath secures an abandoned palace for Emilia's safety while he meets with a messenger from Pride. Refusing to be sidelined, Emilia insists on joining him. During the meeting, a man named Francesco is interrogated under a truth spell that Emilia casts and confesses he leaked meeting info to a hooded figure, which is most likely the killer. Wrath suspects there's a spy within the demon realm. They discover the next target, Valentina, dead before they even can protect her. Emilia is devastated to realize Francesco hadn't betrayed Wrath after all, and her torture of him with the truth spell was unnecessary. Anir, Wrath's trusted human associate, confirms someone in the kingdom of the wicked is leaking information. He urges Wrath to complete his marriage bond with Emilia to strengthen alliances. Emilia is shocked to learn that her protection spell bound her to Wrath in holy matrimony. Feeling betrayed, she storms off. Wrath later finds her via the magical bond, of course, and over a shared meal, Emilia reflects on family, the magical horns, and her sister's mysterious choices. She demands Wrath tell her the whole truth about the curse. He reveals the first witch, La Prima, cursed Pride after her daughter, a star witch meant to guard the realms, married Pride and refused to return to their coven. That daughter lost her powers and became mortal. Now, with the gates of hell widening and creatures escaping, Emilia might be tied to a much bigger destiny. Wrath warns her about an approaching demon, an aper, and tells her not to run. Child. Listen, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. First impressions, first and foremost, I need to be comforted because that was a lot. That was a lot going on. I First of all, we had Francesco, Po Man. We had Anir spilling the beans about the marriage. But I can't take it. I can't. It's too much. It's too much going on. I mean, the whole first half of this week's readings, I'm sitting here like, what the hell? What the helly? What the helliance? What the help today, Lord. And with that, I yield. Mother, first impressions. It is a lot.
It's time to get your tea out. Everybody got your mugs, cause this tea, I had to give my water for this one. It's time to sip. Cause coming from a mother's perspective, how the hell you don't know your daughter out spending the night with people? Why somebody got to tell you that? I'm gonna need you to be in a little more touch with your children. You already lost one, and now the one you got just out here flaunting around, and you ain't thinking. Why somebody had to come knock on your door to tell you your baby's with another man at night, and you just let me hold on.
Not everyone.
He shouldn't have did that. He should have minded his little Christian brother business over
at the he should have minded his business, but the fact that you don't know that your baby is grieving in this kind of way.
Cam don't want nobody telling nobody what she doing.
Don't, because mind your little funky ass business.
But I whether he said or not, the fact that you were so out of touch with your child, and I know everybody grieving, but you a mama, you that far out of touch with the fact that your baby is grieving that you ain't paying attention to what she doing.
Nobody's paying attention to her.
That's my problem. Nobody's paying attention. Daddy in his own world. Granny had a clue, but she got her throat slit, so now she out of commission.
It was deserved.
We ain't talk about them secrets because that's gonna bring me in a whole nother place in the space, okay? But anyway, yes, see, it's so much going on.
Jesus,
I wish that was a little stronger, but that's all right. Praise the Lord. So it was a lot going on. I agree, and this started off for me. I'm mad. I started off mad because you are so in touch with your feelings that you forgot you still got another young, impressionable female daughter that you ain't nobody paying attention to. Come on now. The first one gone because y'all wasn't paying attention. Guess what? You ain't got but one left and y'all still ain't paying attention. With that, I yield. I'm mad because with that, I yield. Because, yeah. See, that's why I need to drink.
Thank you, Mother. And I couldn't agree more with that assessment. Unfortunately, everybody is not as involved of a parent as B to be knowing what's going on with their babies. Glenna, first impressions, please, ma'am. Oh, we'll circle back to Glenna. Cam, first impressions, please.
Look here. Because I done said it twice and I'm going to say it a third time for the people in the back. What the fuck was that? Because I should not have had to find out in the middle of a doctor's office that this girl has accidentally betrothed herself to Raph. Excuse me.
I mean, it ain't their fault you decided to read at the doctor's office. I'm just,
you know what? Kerri is that girl. She do be that girl, but she be catching me off guard because I was smooth sailing up to that point when that man said, "Yeah, what you has like, here's the Latin phrase." Here's what it actually means in English. And I said, I know you lying. And I had to leave the office to go fix my face. Because I was a mess. Dang near dropped the phone, mouth was on the floor. It was a hot mess. I was smooth sailing until that point. Threw me all the way off. And then the rest of the book didn't sound the same because I was thrown off from just that. There was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. And with that, I'm a yield.
I couldn't agree more, Cam. It's too much. It's too much. It looks like Glenna will join us again shortly. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and move into discussion topics. All right, so for this first half, we have emerging darkness, the role of women in magical legacy, curses, choices, and consequences, the cost of truth and trust, blurred boundaries, magic or manipulation, and trusting the wrong people. Cam, let's switch it up. Let's let you go first on questions. What will it be?
Oh, well then. Okay, because I definitely would. I'm surprised, but I already know what I want to do. So,
Come on.
please, for $200.
Blurred boundaries. Blurred lines. All right. How does the accidental marriage bond between Emilia and Wrath complicate their relationship? And do you think Wrath's withholding of the bond's true meaning was justified?
Oh, he's full of shit. What type of shit is that? No. No. Okay, let's backtrack. Question number one. How does the accidental, because accidental is what it was, the marriage bond complicate their relationship? They've been in some very, what I would call, although tense, very intimate situations. Because they definitely was naked in the tub at one point. And it's already awkward enough, doing it with somebody you barely know, even though he's trying to help you and do all this other stuff. But at this point, now we finding out that I accidentally just gave my life to you. And you didn't already went. Let's say there's a good 10 steps between stranger and husband, right? This is just hypothetically. They didn't jump from spot number 1 to like spot number 7.5 already. Like this, and this is when they barely knew each other, couldn't stand each other. She trying to get what she thinks is vengeance for her sister, and she claims, or at least in her brain, she thinks she hates this man. But you accidentally just signed your life over. But the fact that he knows this and has known this all this time, it makes me think back to when we first got him from her summoning the demon. And he said, say what you just said again. So you knew then. This is like chapter 4, big bro. You knew a good 30-something chapters ago that she was in some deep shit. You ain't say nothing?
Oh, he absolutely knew. Absolutely.
What kind of fucked up shit is that? That's wild. So although it's 2 questions, they really could be, like kind of into one, because the fact that he withheld what this is complicates things even more. Because just when she's thinking she's finding good qualities in him, here's this big thing that just blew her life up. So any positive thing she may or may not have felt for you is going to be complicated by the fact that you have now lied. And it's a very big lie. Because even a lie by omission is still a lie.
I said that last week, y'all. I said it.
So I just feel like, although I still like him a little bit, he full of shit. Absolutely full of shit. And I feel bad for her because she is still a teenager who acts without thought. So she did all of this stuff. She doesn't speak Latin fluently, but you said this Latin phrase and you mixed up a couple of words, and now you just signed your life away to a prince of hell. Yes, Mom.
Mom, we see that your hand's raised.
I'm just going to say this. I agree, a lie by omission is still a lie. I do agree that. However, in this particular case, let's consider the fact that he, number 1, is a demon. And number 2, he told her up front. He was not, I'm not telling you, I'm not giving you information. I'll answer your questions, and I will answer your questions and answer them honestly. But he has in a multitude of occasions where she asks questions, but I just said that I can tell you that. Some things you just ain't gonna know. I'm just not going to share. I'm just not going to voluntarily give you information. But when she asks a specific question, he is upfront and honest with her. At no point in this did she ever ask what's going on with this tattoo thing. Because that's the true connector. Because she got it and he got it right at the same time. Because when she noticed his, she noticed hers. And she was like, oh, hell, what's that? She knows she didn't do it, but she never asked about it. So because she never asked, he was like, well, I ain't got shit to say. I'm gonna answer her questions. But and because let's call it what it is. He's being true to his nature. And he told her up front, I will answer your questions honestly. And he has been doing that. But yeah, if she ain't asking the question, he's not volunteering any extra information.
But that's why I said I feel bad for her.
I do.
As the teenager, because she got herself into this situation. And at the time, she was so shocked, she didn't know which questions to ask.
Right. So that's why I think, in terms of, is he justified? Because he's staying true to his character throughout this. He's answering her truthfully. He's protecting her life, limb, and everything. But at the same time, he's still being true to who he is in the process of doing what it is that he agreed to do for her and with her. Because so for
he's still full of shit though. And I'm a yield.
Mm-hmm.
And what that say?
Yield.
I was about to, that's still full of shit, but I'm a yield.
Okay, it's Glenda's turn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did have a statement to add to that just for 1 second. All in all, regardless of the fact that I kind of agree with both points of view, is that just think of how she would have reacted if he told her right off the bat.
Oh, holy hell. Yeah.
I don't think he told her out of the fact that he knew what she was going to say. I think he knew how she was going to react. And I think there's no way she would have accepted even listening to him until now. So while I agree that a lie of omission is a lie, there's sometimes you have to keep things close to the chest just until you know that it's safe to say them.
You know what, Glenna? That said, that actually makes me have more compassion for Wrath, because here it is. He done got summoned with his shirt off to this little naive little girl in this cave. And he knows this girl has unknowingly betrothed herself to me. She's clearly grieving. Ain't no way I could tell her this right now. Let me go ahead and hold on to that piece of information. And since I'm supposed to protect her, let me do that as best I can, being the demon that I am. Oh, child.
To that point, though, isn't his little citizen member the one who said it and not him?
Yeah,
true.
That's even more damning.
Yeah.
It probably would have landed better had it come from him.
But then I wonder, was he planning to tell her at a specific time?
At any point? Yeah, that's the question.
But we'll never know.
And old boy just let the cat out the bag,
Yeah.
Oh, child. Okay, so Glenna, first impressions of these chapters, and then go ahead and pick your discussion question as well before you have to run away from us.
First impressions were, holy crap. A lot going on. A lot of twists I wasn't anticipating. A lot of a lot of things that is like, oh crap. I don't really have anything definite on that regard. It was just very startling. So I will agree to that. I will say that this entire section of the book I read faster than any of the others. But as far as my questions, I'm going to go with curses, choices, and consequences.
Curses, choices, and consequences. Oh. All right. The first witch.
Wait a second.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the one I wanted.
Oh.
I do apologize.
My bad. All right.
I think the cost of truth and trust. I apologize. I read the wrong line.
Gotcha. The cost of truth and trust. That is go. Sorry, guys. Hang on. Okay. Cost of truth and trust. All right. Emilia's use of a truth spell on Francesca resulted in unnecessary trauma and guilt. What does this moment reveal about Emilia's emotional state and evolving moral compass?
Well, first of all, I don't think her moral compass is evolving in any capacity at this point. Because right now she's not thinking before she acts. She's still reactionary in every capacity. So she only is dealing with the aftermath. Until she starts thinking before she acts, I don't think her moral compass can truly change because she's not perceiving the consequences of her actions prior to taking action. I think her guilt is warranted. I think while she didn't appreciate the way he was going about handling it, um, instead of waiting to get a response, which he was obviously confident that was coming, she decided to do it the fast and dirty way simply because it was going to get the response now. And I think that was very selfish of her. And I think her realization that she potentially could have permanently damaged this guy's brain was justified. I think her guilt is to be expected, and I'm glad to see it because it means that, she's still, her morality and her mortality is still in her. She hasn't completely dived off the deep end yet, but she's heading that way if she doesn't stop. So, I'm concerned. I'm worried about her. I think she's, I think that she has the potential to make even more detrimental decisions because she's not thinking. And until she starts thinking, she's spiraling. And with that, I yield.
Couldn't have said it better myself, girl. The Cam said it earlier. She done gave her life away, gave herself away. She done signed her life over, signed, still delivered. And now, and I agree, Glenna, there is no evolution here of her moral compass. But what we have seen here is that she is starting to see consequences of having tunnel vision for vengeance and how dangerous that really is. Okay. Cam, I see your hand raised. What's up?
I just wanted to let the people know what I put in the comment. T
Please.
has been clocked.
The T has been clocked. Yes.
Thank you, Glenna, for clocking the T. Hit the nail on the head.
With utmost accuracy, as she often does. All right. Mother, did you ask the question yet? I don't think you did. Go ahead. Go forth. Pick your poison.
Out of the curses, choices, and consequences.
Curses, choices, and consequences.
Oh, choices, consequences. Okay, sorry.
We cannot be on Barack Obama's internet like this.
First of all,
I'm not on his internet. Hello.
the fact
We are. We on the YouTube.
it's the fact that you know exactly how to join in my church.
You got it from her.
Where you get the shenanigans from, boo?
But we're discussing demons and witches. It's just
You're so silly. Okay.
Girl, put it, whatever it is, put a little Jesus. Oh no, sorry. Anyway.
Okay. So the first witch cursed her own daughter for marrying pride. Do you think her actions were justified in protecting the coven's mission or an abuse of power? And how does this family dynamic mirror Emilia's own struggle?
Ooh wee. Ooh to the wee. Okay. So the woo. Okay, first. Okay, mama witch.
La Prima,
mama witch, because she a witch. She that be with the itch. And she I get she's upset that her child, who was supposed to be governing the demon realm, falls in love with this man. But let's go back to I'm just not, I don't understand why she's so frustrated. Because if you go back, she's the product of light and dark herself.
There it
She
is.
herself is the product of light and dark. So how you gonna be mad at your baby for finding a little piece of happiness? Now, I mean, it might do something to the demon world and it might do something to the light world. But guess what? Your mama and papa did the same thing.
She got that demon dick.
See, I wasn't going there. But anyway, because her daddy was demon, her mama was light, or vice versa. But at any rate, she herself, La Prima, is the product of both of those worlds. And yes, so you didn't have your offspring, and you're trying to stop her from doing what your parents did. Is that not life reproducing itself all over again? Parents have to understand, kids have an option. You love who you love. And clearly he loved her back. So I understand the mother's trying to protect the coven. So I think she was torn. I think as unfortunate as it is, it had to be a serious pull for La Prima to have to choose the coven over her child. That's number one. So it has to be, hey, it is what it is. I don't agree with it, because I'd have been like, that's my flesh and blood. Y'all find somebody else to do this. That's me. But again, I don't agree with the fact that she, not only did she take away her daughter's powers, casting her daughter out and all of that other stuff, that's clearly a break in the family line. Now, in regards to the family dynamic for Emilia, how's that mirroring her struggle? Well, we found in the reading that because La Prima did that, some witches bear human children, which is what's going on with Emilia's mama, because she all human, no witch. Okay. So she ain't got no magical powers. She can't protect nobody from nothing but a spider. And, Granny is the only one that got some juice up in there other than them kids. Because it cast down from the woman. So the thing is, so Emilia is in that same kind of battle, because look here. Truth be told, Victoria agreed to do the same thing that La Prima's daughter did. She agreed to marry. We don't know if she was in love with him or not, because she was sneaky. She was probably out there hanging out with the boy the whole time anyway. But at any rate, now Emilia got down there and found that Wrath is a little more sexy than she was told. She didn't tell her. They didn't tell her they was fine. She said she thought they was fine, dripping, blood drawn, and all this other stuff. Come to find out, this demon hella fine. And I'm conflicted, because I'm having impure thoughts about the damn demon that I'm supposed to be guarding my life against. Hello. So she's struggling her dang self, which is probably the same thing La Prima's daughter did when she fell in love. So let's call it what it is. It's history repeating itself. Family, you want some family dynamics for you. History is repeating itself. But in the course, and she's really doing well at trying to keep her emotional feelings at bay for him, because she's trying to forego and say, I'm dealing with you for the purpose of my sister. And this is a, sign of grief. We gotta, this is an attack of anything that caused me to feel like this. And she's in her mind believing that she got to keep her feelings at bay, because he's only here for the sake of me finding out about my sister. But in essence, every time she catch herself caught up and thinking about that boy with his shirt off and him touching her, the fact that she can't breathe because he looking at her and she this close and he touching her hand and all this other stuff. Girl, she got the glove jaws for the demon, and she can't help it. So this is nothing but a repeat of the family history, because somebody was shielding the truth. And this is why we got this whole scenario going on right now. With that, I'm a yield.
Baby, she want that demon D. She
Hello.
got the matrimony spell for the D. Push your Francesco for the D.
Holding back the thoughts for the D.
Right. Leave the family home
Okay.
for the D.
All right.
In the
No.
palace for the D.
No.
Okay.
When mother joins into that foolishness, no.
Hey,
Oh.
The naked bath with the D.
okay.
Next.
I'm just saying. I was finna give you another verse, but okay. No, I yeah. I'm good.
This is where I get it from. You're right, Glenna. This is exactly where I get it from. All right, moving on. Chapters 30.
Don't hate the choir. Hate the vocalist. No, I'm just saying.
Oh, Jesus. Chapter 31 through 36. Emilia is then hunted by an Aper demon and nearly killed until Wrath saves her. They
You
find.
didn't pick yours.
Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. I did not. I did not. I'm messing up. Hang on. Let me go back to the questions then.
Losing train of thought for the D. Sorry.
Hey, that's that demon D.
Mother. All right.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Glenn, I'm so sorry. This is where I get it from. You're on mute, girl.
Totally get it. I'm just amused at the fact that I'm sitting here at work and this is playing in my ear.
So everybody come down so Glenn can work.
Okay. Okay, so for that first half, I will choose the emerging darkness. With the gates of hell weakening and new creatures entering the world, how do you think this shift will affect Emilia's mission? It definitely throws a monkey wrench into her plans because her main issue was, why is my sister dead? And now we learn about this impending doom, that the gates of hell are weakened and stuff is escaping. It very much reminds me of when we read Hunter by Mercedes Lackey. Just creatures just all over everything, just running amok. What might the Aper demon symbolize about the next phase of her journey? It might symbolize, I mean, outside of like the regular schmegular degular immediate danger that it symbolizes, I low-key feel like, being that she is betrothed to Wrath, it might symbolize a greater purpose beyond being a little, I don't say little to demean it, but like, your purpose is not just whipping up pasta at the family trattoria anymore. Like, you now have a purpose connected to the underworld and to possibly even being that star witch that supervises or guides the realms between the earthly realm and the demon world, and that the Aper demon might just be foreshadowing that. I don't know. But yeah, with that, I'll yield. I see Mom, you have a hand raised.
Cam raised first. Go ahead, Cam.
Okay. Go ahead, Cam.
I was thinking that maybe it symbolized like how strong of a witch she'll actually turn out to be. Like, I guess because we know who she's descended from, and all the things that she had to face despite Nona and her lies. But it seems like as we go forth, the dangers that she's facing are greater, and she's overcoming more of them. But I'm also thinking that it represents how strong of a witch she will be with wrath, if that makes sense.
Agree. It very much gives the Bible story of Esther. Like, girl, you was made for such a time as this.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
supposed
it's like,
to be Wrath's bride at this
yeah,
point.
that's what I'm trying to get out, because it seems like they function great separately, but they function better together.
He isn't exactly complaining.
Hello.
It's true. So that's what I'm thinking.
Clearly he sees something in her that she don't even know she got behold to her. Mm-hmm.
And it's probably something that he needs, because like he's doing all of this stuff for pride and all this other stuff. Whole
Oh no.
time you looking for pride a wife. What about you, big bro? Which is now I'm thinking. Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm thinking you doing all of this looking and searching for pride. What about you? And now that I'm thinking, that's probably why he didn't say nothing, because deep down somewhere he probably wants that for himself. But he, although he's the Prince of Wrath, he doesn't seem like, you know. So it's, to me, it's given, I kind of want you here, but I don't want to force you to be here type thing. And I'm realizing that I'm functioning better with you. You can do great without me, but I still want you with me. And that way we can both be great and do better together. And so I feel like as the danger is increasing, despite how upset she is with him, we're going to see this inner strength, because even kids have an inner strength that's just not foreseeable until they're pushed to that point. And I feel like at some point she's going to get pushed there. So the increase in danger to me is just foreshadowing the strength that she has within herself, and that wrath is going to be the one to pull it out of her.
I like that. I concur.
Mother,
unmute, mother.
Let me add this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pride losing his wife caused him to also lose some power. Okay. So your power is increased with your wife, a witch wife at that. And that's one of the reasons he's trying to get himself back from where he was, because he was cursed. But then let's talk about it. If that is the case, that your power increases, why is that not a good thing? That well, let's go back to the demon, because that was the question. The ape demon. If you got your wicked Bibles, on page 2, 4, and 3, it says, when he was talking to her about the demons that are starting to invade the world, she asked the question, anything we should be concerned about in particular then, since they breaking through? He said, you should be concerned about the ape demon. For what? And for one. And she said, what is that? And he explained to her what it was. He said, the reason being is that the ape demon has a thirst for witch blood. That's why she should be afraid. Okay. Now, on the other tip, on what because if they breaking through, because my question is, I think what really pierced my nerve is that, why is it that these other chicks got killed or approached for the purpose of being the bride, and pride didn't come after her and want to ask her? Is it because she had already summoned wrath? Because she, just like her sister, had the horn. So it would have made more sense for him to go, unless she did that, unless she had summoned him before he thought about her and just went on to the next witch that practiced dark magic. I got you, Glenna. And I said, what got me with that though was all of this time, nobody's coming after her, even though they needed the horns. And that's because I'm sure because of wrath. But now somebody, either this thing got through the border or somebody sent it through the border to come after her. That's where my first spidey sense kicked in. Because normally it's the demons, the bigger demons have to be summoned. Remember? The little ones were sliding through, but the bigger ones had to be summoned. So my question was, who the heck summoned this big demon to come up after this girl? And why wasn't Raph's spidey sense kicking before he got there?
Ooh.
Because when he was telling her about it, he looked up and the damn thing's sitting there. Hello. And he said, whatever you do, don't run. But you know, us women, it's a spider, it's bigger than a spider. I'm finna move. But anyway, that was my first thing. The other thing is when Kemi was talking about the connection with the two of them, and he sees something in her. Yes, he sees something in her. Number one, it is powerful to have a witch by your side. But don't forget, a nurse said, finish the marriage bond because the war is coming.
Mm-hmm.
The war is coming. Now, I don't know what. Now, something gonna come up too about this paw print and this stalk of wheat that she saw. And I don't know if that's a clue to whichever person is coming after her. But you remember right after that demon came after her.
We ain't got there yet, Mom. We ain't got there yet.
We ain't there. We was in 29. That's when okay,
No.
no matter. We ain't there. Anyway, well, we on 31. Okay, that's in 31. But anyway,
no, I agree. It's a demon prince's world, but it'd be nothing without a witch bride or a girl.
I think that to answer one of the questions that you had earlier, I think that the order is specific, and I think there's a reasons for it. I think the reason why Victoria was approached and not her is that there's some order to things. They're not just randomly being chosen.
Okay.
What I don't think there is.
No idea. But I think there has to be a rhyme or reason as to why. It might be just their exposure. It might just be their potential playing with or use of dark magic. I think it might, because if you notice that the next one that she recognizes the name of is a cousin of the family that does the magic that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it might have something to do with that. So they might be starting with the darker the better and be working their way towards the lighter side. Or it might be a power level, or it might be anything that's triggering the list. But I think there's a specific order that the girls are being approached.
Okay.
And I think there's a reason. And I think maybe Emilia's previous denouncing that the wicked exist, I think that's the reason why she wasn't high up on that list.
Could be true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think faith in the fact that it exists, because story after story after story, time and time again, faith in things bringing them about is always a factor. And I think it might also be a factor in here, because the more she interacts with things and the more she acknowledges that they exist, the more she's able to accomplish.
But also the more danger she gets in too.
True. But it's also the
But you're
more
right.
she's able to utilize the situation or her things to her advantage.
I think there's something there.
Hearing you say, Glenna, that her amount of buy-in to the lore, the legend of the wicked is directly correlated to how much danger she's getting in and and her danger level, or at least her on the radar of the wicked.
Her danger level in general, and not necessarily to her power, but her access and ability to utilize her power.
Got you. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. This is good stuff. Okay, y'all. Are we ready to move to the next summary? Okay. Again, Emilia is hunted by the Aper demon and nearly killed until Raph saves her. They find a mysterious steel door with a symbol possibly linked to envy, but Emilia isn't ready to face it. She does not find anything familiar in that space. Back home, she finds her room destroyed and Victoria's diary stolen. Heartbroken and desperate, she vows to protect her family, even with dark magic, and casts a protective spell with the help of Claudia, who is also leaning toward vengeance. Back at the palace, Wrath prepares to meet the next witch pledged to Pride. Emilia, feeling sidelined and betrayed, leaves on her own and ends up at a beach party under the seductive influence of lust. Wrath intervenes, and a confrontation with Lust reveals how dangerous his brothers truly are. After Lust's spell fades, Emilia spirals into a depression, disconnected from pleasure and purpose. Wrath patiently helps her recover. He uses a moon ritual bath and her favorite flowers to awaken her senses and restore her spirit. He then engages her in a card game to teach emotional control and strategy, emphasizing that her power lies in her choices, not charms or other people. Their bond deepens, but Wrath warns her not to leave the palace that night. And Emilia, newly empowered, chooses to defy his advice, ready to claim her autonomy. I mean, I think it's pretty clear how I feel about Emilia leaving. It's just dumb. So, first impressions overall, I mean, we kind of touched on it already, but I feel like the card game is the perfect example of how like your belief really does form your reality. And Wrath's encouraging of her to like really just have more belief in herself, to have mastery over her emotions, is really what's going to carry her to the victory line against all these dangers. I thought it was expertly described in the game. I thought it was really cool that he used a game to try to like get this point across to her. I thought it was kind of sweet that he, even brought her favorite flowers, even though it wasn't part of the moon ritual. We're definitely seeing like more developing in terms of that romantic part of the YA fantasy fiction novel type thing. I thought Lust and her encounter with Lust, I didn't know what was going on when I was reading that part of the chapter. I'm just like, huh? How are we horny on the beach? Like, why are we about to come up out our clothes on the beach at this? It's a lot. It's a lot going on. But I also am curious to see how Claudia's new thirst for vengeance against her killed cousin is going to show up later. I think it may be helpful for both Raz and for Emilia later on. I'm just not really sure how or where she fits in to any of that. And with that, I yield. Glenna, first impressions, ma'am.
Very similar. I mean, the party on the beach was a little interesting. I definitely enjoyed the kind of kind of interactions between them after that, and the game and all of that. As far as your statement on Claudia, I have a weird thought on that.
Do tell.
And I think somehow, I don't know how it's going to play out, but I think at some point she's going to blame, either because they didn't get there fast enough or because she's foolishly thinks he's involved. She's going to blame Wrath, and it's going to become her and Emilia head to head, with Emilia having to defend him.
Oh no.
I see that as a potential conflict. They might bypass it completely, but I see that as a potential conflict.
Ooh. I hope not, because I really like that they have a friendship. I like that she still has a friend in this world, even though her sister's gone.
But as we've seen, grief completely changes the ballgame.
Yeah, true.
I yield.
All right. Mother, first impressions. Come on off mute.
Well, I knew exactly what was going on when she was on that beach. Because let's call it what it is. Are we not dealing with the 7 deadly sins? Girl, I knew when she was talking about the fact that she was feeling it and some of these hands that she didn't see was touching her. I was like, oh, girl, you all into yourself and you ain't even got no alcohol in you. Girl, that's love. Ain't that, you ain't got a stitch to drink and you feeling like that? Yeah, it's something in you, but it ain't in you what you're trying to get in you. But anyway, but then I think what got me was I think this is funny to me, is that when she realized, oh hell, I was overtaken by lust, demon just controlling me, and she got mad. Then she got depressed. If this child ain't in the stages of grief, I don't know what it is. She got them all over the place. And then the depression era was so funny for me, because Wrath is being a good husband that he ain't yet, because he bringing her all the foods that she needs. He done everything. He done overlooked her, tuning him out. Bless his whole little wicked heart. And then turn around and was like, I can't take this shit no more. It throws in the tub. I was done. I was tickled to hell. But then I said, now here we go. All of this. And here you go being hard-headed again. Ain't this how this started? Can you take your little hard-headed ass and sit down somewhere? That's why I would, oops, excuse me, Lord, I cussed. Oh, forgive me, Jesus. See, this what happened when kids don't do what they supposed to do. They make you come up at you. Whew, Jesus, that's my impression. I was doing good till her little hard-headed tail took her little tail up at the house. I was good up to that point. And with that, I yield.
All right. First off, yes, lust on the beach, it was very much given, ooh, some kind of touch caressing my leg. Oh my. Ooh. Yeah, and Wrath taking care of her, it very much gives me on my period and my beloved husband coming to my aid. Like it was sweet. And yes, she's still hard-headed as I'll kid out. Cam, first impressions.
Y'all kind of touched on all of them. The only thing I probably got left is her description of lust had me cracking up.
How so?
It was just a basic description, but then she had the realization of, wait a minute, he's still controlling my emotions. Wrath still got him beat. I was cracking up. I was driving this morning, and when she said that, I was like, oh, he must be fine. Then she was like, hold on. No. I thought that was hilarious. And then after, their little interaction, and she finally broke it, and he got mad. Lust got mad. I was like, this is funny. These boys is just, they some little bitches. This is hilarious. So, yeah, with that, I yield.
Yes, these are the demon princes of hell, baby. As told by Miss Kerri, baby. Miss Kerri Maniscalco. All right. Discussion questions for this half. We have power versus protection, mourning and magic, temptation and consent, healing through ritual, free will as power, or blurring the lines between light and dark. Glenna, pick your poison, man.
Blurring the lines between light and dark.
Blurring the light between the light and the dark. Whoa.
Blurring the line between the light and the dark.
All right. Wrath tells Emilia there is no light or dark magic, only power. How does this challenge traditional fantasy morality systems? And do you think the book is promoting a more nuanced view of good and evil?
Okay. I wouldn't say it definitely is. The good and evil is definitely the black and white. There is no gray. It's either A or B kind of situation. It's definitely been more of a classic way of looking at morality stories. And I think looking at the gray of it is the intent and how you use it rather than the magic itself, I think is a good lesson overall. Um, and I think it's a more realistic representation of reality within fantasy. Um, and I think it's definitely I'm trying to think of the correct wording here. Um, it gives more autonomy to the magic user themselves than it does a strict hierarchy of usage. And it also allows for more culpability on the head or heart, as it were, of the magic user themselves. They have to be more mindful of how they use magic, of what they use magic to do, because light magic can do just as much damage as dark magic, depending on the situation. And I think that it holds a question of if light is always good and dark is always bad, then what's the moral, I guess, consequences for those who use good magic to do bad things? And I think the fact that this magic system and the not necessarily the system itself, but the discussions around it and the power is the only thing that matters is kind of a more I agree with the word nuanced. I think it's definitely a very nuanced way of looking at it. And I think it forces both the reader and the characters themselves to question the reasons why they're doing things rather than to just simply do them because that's the way it's always been done. And with that, I yield.
Good stuff, Glenna. I wonder now, having heard your answer to this question, how many people in how many various positions of power, influence, and the like also view power in this way, right? So from healthcare, politics, religion, I wonder if there is an underlying idea that, oh, I mean, I'm not bad. I'm just powerful.
Or I'm on the right side of history, therefore I'm right.
That part. Things to chew on. All right. Mother, may I have your question selection, please, ma'am?
Okay. Ooh. Hmm. Healing through ritual.
Healing through the ritual. All right. Wrath uses elements of witchcraft and personal knowledge of Emilia to help her recover. How does this moment shift your perception of Wrath's character and his relationship with Emilia?
Let's go back to he that findeth a wife. Findeth a good thing.
Because though she looketh for him.
Well, she was looking, but she didn't know she was looking for him. However, in terms of Wrath's character, even though he is true to his nature of being a demon, he has also been true to this bond. And it shows a level of compassion that is not typical of a demon or what we believe or perceive to be a demon. Also, compassion and empathy, because he's feeling, along with the protection of her, he is looking to heal her mentally. And that shows that you care. When you are caring about somebody's mental state, you have to have some form of empathy for them. Characteristics which normally is not something a demon would possess, because they don't care, they demons. So with that being said, he's showing more humanistic qualities than demon qualities in terms of his dealings with her. How does that work toward their relationship? It's making the bond that much stronger. And like Cam said earlier, he sees something in her.
Mm-hmm.
He wants her on his team. They already work well together. But I think the fact that he has diminished his wrathful side to a protector, provider. I mean, he's right up there with the keys for what husband's supposed to be: profess, protect, provide. He ain't professed it, but he is physically showing in how he entreats her in each case. Like the fact that he went to get her off the beach and be like, girl, come on, we got to go, because you under the influence. And she like, what you talking about? So in all of his dealings with her, he's been working for her betterment, not just. And what gets my goat though, because he is truly showing her empathy and compassion, and he's doing all the things a good husband would be doing. Why he's still calling her witch? That's all. He won't call the girl by his name. He called her witch. And I don't know if that's the wrath side of him or the demon side of him trying to hold on to that little bit of demon element to say that I really ain't falling for you, even though I'm falling for you. So I ain't gonna call you by your name. Because I think the moment he calls her by her name, it's done, it's over. Y'all stick a fork in that nigga, because he done, and he might as well submit himself and say, go on, marry me, girl, and be done. Because right now, I think the fact that he's still calling her witch, but he's treating her like wife, says something. Because men, demon or not, ain't gonna do all that if they ain't feeling something. And with that, I yield.
Well, mother, you do raise some interesting points. I mean, does he care about her mental health, or is it a means to an end, since he knows how powerful she is and a war is coming? And is he calling her witch to maintain some emotional distance because he's starting to have feelings for her? Maybe, possibly. And you're right. He is doing those husbandly things. He has provided a house in the abandoned palace. He has protected her from his brother Lust, all the way to the point of stabbing bruh and sending him back to the underworld. He just ain't professed it yet. You right. I see hand raised. Cam, what's up?
He probably won't ever call her by her name. And here's why I say
And
this.
he might not.
Because this is a historical fiction / dark romance book ish, heavy on the ish. And in most dark romances, as an avid reader, there's always the two main characters, and they got these little weird. They start liking each other. Then when they eventually get together, because that's gonna happen, it's romance, they still keep calling each other that. They don't go back to piss somebody off or somebody getting hurt. Oh,
Is it like on Booth? Is that what this is?
Yes.
They was definitely married and still calling each other Bones and Booth. Mm-hmm. So it's still gonna be Witch and Wrath.
Well, Wrath is his name, but yeah. Become after a while becomes a term of endearment, pet name rather than an insult.
Cam, I hear you. And it also sounds like we having some connection issues on your end. But
Jesus.
I will say your point was made and it came across. It's just a little choppy. It's all good. It's all right. All right.
Back now though.
Yeah, you back now. You
Okay.
live.
Jesus. Wi-Fi.
All right, that's it. All right, that's it. Well, shoot, Cam, pick a topic.
Questions this week. I know which one. Which one are you gonna do?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I'm morning.
Oh Lord, girl. Okay, yeah, your connection is back funky again.
Hold on.
Something with her moving around changes her connection.
Okay,
Better?
so mother, yeah,
Okay.
better.
Yeah, the squirrels are munching on our line outside, so it goes in and out. So I'm torn between Morning and Magic and Temptation and Consent. And I don't like that. I don't like it. Temptation and Consent, I guess. I picked it. Jesus.
All right. Temptation and Consent. Emilia is magically seduced by lust and nearly loses control. What does this reveal about the dangers of emotional manipulation and magical coercion in the story?
Well, we know a whole lot about that, don't we? Unfortunately, throughout this book, we've learned that emotional manipulation is just a means to an end. For every brother that she's come across, Wrath included. Because at the very beginning, Radar, don't be cute. Please don't be cute right here. Come here. Over. Yeah, just in my face. So at the very beginning, when she met Wrath, he, whether willingly or unwillingly, tried to make her angry so that she would relinquish her summoning situation thingamabob. Then she met the dear good brother, Envy. Dear good brother, Envy. And the way that his power works is by, jacking with emotions to make people feel a way. So for him, that feeling he gave her of wanting to rip her heart out and all this other stuff, and just how awful she was, whether to make her see the power of him or for her to understand how he felt towards her, he still had to manipulate her emotional state to get that feeling across. Then she met Greed. That shit was hilarious. But when she met Greed, it was very much the same thing. And he used her sister as a means to try to get the information he wanted, but she ended up, Uno reversing the good bro and pissed him off, which triggered something in him. And now she's met Lust. And yet again, his power is banking on the inner, deep hidden emotional situationals that people be feeling. So what I've seen through the now 4 brothers that she has met outside of 1, 2, 3, out of the 4 brothers she's met, they have all at some point tried to manipulate her emotional state to get what they wanted out of a situation from her. But that girl is extremely emotionally intelligent because she was able to catch on to it before it could get too far. And unfortunately, I think that's something that her twin didn't possess. Otherwise, she might not be dead. Because it was like an immediate onslaught of feelings each time she met one of them. Like, she got wrath and was just automatically pissed off. That's a wrath type of emotion. Like, you just are angry. You mean envy? Okay, well, now I want to scratch my heart out, and now I understand why I want to scratch my heart out. Look at who I'm looking at. I meet greed, and she's angry because her sister's being used as a tool to try to get her cornicello for his doing. And she's like, no, I see what you're doing here. How about we do this? And the same thing has now happened with like, she's managed to piss off every single one of them, and I love that for her. It's great. But it can become dangerous because at some point, I'm pretty sure all of us has had a moment of, well, did one of these brothers send this particular thing after her? After she didn't piss them off? Like, because she's causing so much discord with them and their emotions, like wrath aside, it could be said that the height of the danger that she's experienced at any given time could potentially be from one of the brothers that she just pissed off, because herself cannot unleash a demon on the world, but they can. So I'm not saying that is what it is, but it could potentially be correlated that this emotional intelligence that she has is causing a greater danger because she's not able to be manipulated as strongly as some of the other witches are. And the coercion from lust, that was some wild things, because the girl looked down, she was like, oh, I am unbuttoning my clothes. What? But then it took a really good man deep inside of rap to be like, if you want to do this at home, we can talk about that later, but let's keep these on. Let's get out of here.
Period.
Which is great on his part, because any one of them other brothers that she's come across in that moment probably wouldn't have cared for her as much, and they would have immediately used whatever their coercive power is, because both biblically, literally, all the types of being, the 7 deadly sins are forms of coercion in their own right. So all of the powers that these princes possess will coerce people into doing things that they don't want to do based on the inner emotion that they have and don't know that they're harboring. So she's now being affected by lust, and she done walked over to wrath and is unbuttoning clothes, but in her conscious mind does not know that she feels these things for this man. She knows he's attractive, but she thinks she hates him. You don't just pull off your clothes for people you hate, especially not in public. So it's a very strong type of coercion, and I feel like if she were to come across the other brothers like pride or gluttony or sloth, she would probably feel some of those same coercive pulls. But with the emotional intelligence she has, I feel like she's in a much safer place than some of the other witches are or would be, who would be in that same situation as she is. And with that, I yield.
Girl, yes, a million times yes. Clocked all of it.
Thank you.
I could not agree more. Like, this whole book is really just a lesson in emotional manipulation and managing your own emotions effectively, I think. The writer does a very great job of using these 7 deadly sins to illustrate this point. And it really just, it confirms lessons we've already learned biblically, like Ephesians 4:26, be angry yet sin not, manage your emotions, right? 2 Timothy 1:7, God's given us a spirit of power, love, and of a sound mind, right? So even in ancient biblical texts, there's always mention of not just giving in to whatever the influence is around you, but having your own mind, having your own control, having your own understanding of who you are, whose you are, and what you are. And I really, really love that Wrath called attention to that for her with that card game. Good stuff, Cam. Good stuff.
You better come through with your scriptures, girl.
As we talk about witches and demons, I mean, you know. Did everybody go? Everybody went?
Everybody but you.
Everybody but me? I always leave myself out.
Just keep it holy, girl. Keep it holy. Go on, get your spirit. Get your
All right, so I will pick free will as power. Emilia exercises her free will by leaving the palace, even against Wrath's advice. Do you think this was a reckless move or a necessary step in her empowerment journey? I think it might be a little bit of both, honestly, because he tells her to stay her ass in the palace right before telling her, or right after telling her to have autonomy over her thoughts and her emotions. So I wonder if he's testing her, but I also wonder if there's like actual real danger he's trying to keep her from because he gives a damn about her now. I don't feel like it's the wisest choice, but a lot of times when we exercise our free will, they're not wise choices. We're always encouraged to consider what is right, what is true, what is good, what is wise. And this is just, it's never been Emilia's train of thought up to this point in the book. I don't think it will be because that's just not who Emilia is. She don't be thinking. This we know. I do think it's reckless, but I also think it is necessary. And with that, I yield. So, ladies,
Mom had her hand up.
Oh, my bad. I did not see your hand, girl. Final thought. Predictions, reactions, questions, all the things. Mother, go for it.
I was just going to comment on what you said, and that even though it's reckless, it might be necessary, because he started out chapter 36 saying there are victims and victors, and you have to decide who you want to be, or the choice will be made for you. And I guarantee you're not going to like the choice. So it's almost urging her to, you need to decide how you're going to be viewed, not just out in the world, but you yourself. How are you going to show up, basically? So when he tells her not to leave, I'm pretty sure it was for her protection. But in the end, in order for you to navigate who you're going to be, you're going to have to venture out on some journeys, even though people that care about you and love you say no, and you won't know who you're going to be until you get to the destination based on this journey you're taking. So I agree with you in that, Angel, in that it may not have been the wisest of choices, but in order for her to truly hone in on what he said to her, in her mind, I got to take this step. So yeah, good job. But as far as our predictions, now I'm gonna go back to where I was when I said in chapter 31, after that demon chased that girl and Wrath ends up killing her, he sent her to 32. She said she kept questioning why the demon led me to this space, in this place. And I kept asking her, he asked her, does that paw print and stalk mean anything? Does that mean anything to you? Because she said it looks familiar, but I don't know where. You know, she kept thinking it was from her sister's diary.
Yes, he did continually ask her when they were inside that do you recognize anything? And she kept saying no.
Yeah, because the symbol on the door is what she looked at and said, that looks familiar. She thought it was in her sister's diary. But I went back, girl. I had to go back. It's actually in chapter It's on page 215. No, that was my phrase of the day. Never mind. It was on page 207. That paw print and that stalk of wheat, she thought was a symbol of greed because she saw it when it was on a painting by a food stand when they were out there, when they went into the town to find out about that girl that got killed, about that witch that got killed. And she looked at it, she was like, she thought that was a symbol of greed. Because remember, she asked him, is that one of greed symbols? And he was like, I don't know, I don't think so. And he dismissed it. But then when it showed up again after this April demon chased her to the very same symbol that's on that door, he walked her around in that room. So there's some relevance there. And I personally am curious to see what it is, because this is the second time that symbol has come up. He acknowledged it, and there's something there, because why would you acknowledge that again after she brought it to your attention? You know what I mean?
Good point. Good point.
So I'm curious to see that. I'm also curious, like you all mentioned before, about the relationship of her, because she had her cousin putting those spells over the houses.
Claudia's her friend. Her cousin.
Yeah, her friend. It was Claudia's cousin that got killed. But yeah, I'm curious as to how that relationship is going to pan out. Because Claudia is very deep into the dark magics, and where she is just getting into it. And like you say, I really think it's like, I think it was Cam that mentioned it, either Cammy or Glenna mentioned that at some point it's going to be a rift between her and Wrath, and it's going to make Emilia have to make some strong decisions. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I'm not going to make a prediction on it. The only prediction I got is something's going on with that paw print and that salt.
Real valuable insight, Mother. Thank you for that. Yeah. Glenna, questions, predictions, notes, anything, final thoughts?
Just a further going on in what your mom said. I think the paw print and the stalk are going to be important. And although I think instead of being a symbol of one of the demon princes, I think it's going to come out of one of the groups of witches. Or it's the witch hunters that she keeps thinking are around the corner. I could be wrong, but that's because he keeps it kind of came across, because I was listening to the audiobook during this section, and the tone of voice that the actor was using kind of gave the impression that he knows what that symbol is, but he needs her to realize it, because she's not going to believe it until she figures it out for herself, and she's going to be accusatory that's the kind of the impression that I got, that she's going to basically say he's telling tales if he says this is what it is, versus if she figures it out for herself and it's something that, whether it's something that her Nona belonged to, or maybe some of the witches that she's friends with and she does communicate with, or whether it's, something along those lines. It's going to be something that's going to hurt. It's going to be something that's going to be harsh for her to have to deal with. It's going to be a wake-up call, and she's not going to like it.
Ever the insightful in-law, girl.
So that's the only prediction that I have. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Glenna. Cammers, questions, predictions, final thoughts.
I agree with Glenna, but I also have an alternative.
Please.
I'm thinking if it's not one of the witch hunters or the dark witches, or somebody on her side, I'm gonna flip it back, and I wonder if maybe it is one of the princes of hell, but it's one of the ones she thinks she's not supposed to worry about.
Ooh.
And I say this because, to me, a paw is it holding the wheat or is it just like slapped on
They
top?
they don't say.
They don't say, because in my mind when I'm reading it, I'm visualizing like a lion paw, and with the wheat laying on a large cat paw of some kind, and that sends my mind to like the plains of Africa, where those larger animals are kind of like in a constant battle for food.
Okay.
And us with an abundance of food, that would be gluttony.
And there was fishing gear inside.
And there was fishing gear inside. So I'm
Fishing
thinking
gear and nets, girl.
it could
All right,
possibly
hold on,
be.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Run that back. What are you saying?
I'm saying, if we recall, Nona told her out of the 7 princes of hell, there was 4 she was supposed to be especially worried about. That was wrath, greed, pride,
Envy.
and
Envy.
envy.
I looked it
That
up.
means the ones that she did not mention were lust, gluttony, and sloth. So in
Lust,
her
lust.
mind, there's princes who she thinks aren't as large of a concern. And if they have some sort of knowledge of the witches, what they're taught, all of those things, it's possible that those 7 princes are aware that these are the ones that they've taught them to be scared of. These are the 3 who can fly under the radar. So who's to say that the person leaking the demons into the mortal realm is not one of those 3 that she thinks she's not supposed to be worried about? Because she is a little more powerful than most. She had this situation happen when she was a young girl, and the familiarity that she's feeling could be from something back then that she's now blocked out because she's tunnel visioned on figuring out what's going on with her sister. And these are all references to what could be considered some sort of food source. So I'm thinking maybe, possibly, the Prince of Gluttony is involved.
That is sound.
No. See, I said the first week. Why we ain't worried about them other 3 princes, Nona Maria? Why just the 4?
But Nona been lying.
This is true. She only gonna give us the 4 for 4 demons, but not gonna tell us about the other 3.
Come on, 4 for 4. No, that 4 for 4.
So it could be, but then this is also a thing. This could be a sign to mislead them, because the demons who are showing up are being released slowly. So what if that's sloth? Because he just lazily, oh, here's one. Maybe he'll kill her. Maybe she won't. Here's another one. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe we won't.
Well, I thought it was ironic when you first brought up the thing, because here's the thing. Number one, the first symbol showed up in the marketplace kind of haphazardly. It showed up in the marketplace next to a restaurant stand that was shut down. And so then you see this door where the same symbol is, and you go behind it, you see fishing nets and all this fishing gear. So your immediate mind goes to, this is probably maybe the storehouse or the packing house, or where they process the fish and all the stuff that they do. But like you said, on the backhand side of it, gluttony is also a food, is generally it's a food related situation, or a situation where you are receiving more than you need because you are because you're that manipulation thing. You in your mind, you believe you're supposed to have it all. And
that's why it took me to Africa, because when you have a pride of lions or a herd of cheetahs or some giraffes or some zebras, everybody believes that they the ones that's supposed to have the food.
They're supposed to have it. Yeah.
So it's a constant battle. So when I'm seeing this paw, and because it's saying paw, there's only a handful of animals that you will refer to as having paws. Dogs, cats, and in Africa, they have a lot of large cats.
Yeah.
So, and then wheat is not something typically grown in Italy. Italy is known for grapes, wine, all that type of stuff. So my mind goes to where's the closest place where wheat is common. So I immediately went to Africa because that's the closest to where they currently are geographically.
Girl. Okay. I like all of this. I do. Oh, child. Okay. So next week, as we get into our finale, we'll be addressing chapters 37 through 48, and we'll be spinning the wheel for our next book choice for next month. Any do I have any questions, predictions, or final thoughts? I don't know. I'm stressed. I'm just stressed about this whole third portion of the book. Honestly, I took a break. I couldn't even start reading week 4 stuff just yet. So pray my strength in the Lord as we get ready to do this finale next week.
I have a question, but it's not related to the book.
Go for it.
So I'm thinking, I've been thinking about this since we started. What if, and we don't have to do this today, we can do it for the next book. What if we started doing our wheel during the end of the 3rd week so that everybody has a full week to get the book before they're supposed to start reading for the next month?
You know what? I like that. Let's do that beginning with next week or next month
book. Okay.
Book.
I just thought about
every
that. Every third week. Mm-hmm.
I'm with it. Ladies, any other final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, predictions, final thoughts, and the like?
I can't wait for the last week. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Girl, who knew a paw print and a stalk of wheat would bring on this much controversy? I'm waiting right now. I'm finna go start reading again.
Lena, anything to add?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, ladies, I will see y'all next week for the finale. Enjoy the rest of your night. Bye.
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 It's the family plot. Come and see what we got. If you like mystery and fantasy, then this is the spot. It's the family plot. Come and see what we got. Follow on Instagram and YouTube and even TikTok.